Well, hi, everyone, and greetings from Northern Michigan. This is Bob the Science Guy. You know, the Flat Earth community is all abuzz over the debate recently between Professor Dave and DITRH, Dave Weiss. Now, several of the Flat Earthers have already made videos trying to make excuses for DITRH's performance, but I thought that I would go ahead and make one and have a look at the debate styles being used by the Flat Earth and the science denial community. So, let's cue up the music and get going. Well, let's go ahead and introduce the players real quick. Professor Dave runs an educational channel with about 2 million subscribers. I've also seen him on numerous TV appearances. Now, his channel is primarily an educational channel for tutoring in advanced subjects such as chemistry and physics and biology. Now, Dave Weiss, or Deep in the Rabbit Hole, DITRH, is an old-timey flat earther, and he has been putting out challenges to Professor Dave for some time. So what they did was they went over to Sean Atwood's channel and they had a formal debate. Dave agreed to come and Dave Weiss agreed to come. You know, one thing that I think is very telling is this opening shot. Have a look at Dave's face. I mean, he absolutely has no you-know-whats to give. So he showed up to this channel basically for his own amusement, if nothing else. Now, Dave Weiss, on the other hand, is rocking that 60-year-old basic bro backwards ball cap look. He is not pulling it off. Well, I'm rocking my AirPods right now, and we're going to have a listen to Flat Earth Dave on the lower left and Professor Dave on the lower right. This is the opening remarks, and I believe Flat Earth Dave is going to start us off. So let's have a listen and then see what kind of techniques we're using.
Yeah. This is the first time I think a real flat earther, I'll call myself a real flat earther, has spoken direct with Professor Dave, as he normally does videos, you know, that just go out and pretty much straw man us, whether you know it or not, or gaslight us, and then there's really no way to respond because.
No, so you've never seen my channel ever and have no idea what I do because I make academic tutorials.
I have, but your flat Earth stuff is is gaslighting us essentially.
It's devastating and destroys flat Earth easily.
Absolutely. So
it started big straw man. Oh, he says that they think the Earth is flat. What a straw man.
I'm with you. Listen.
Now, Dave's demonstrating a classic flat Earth strategy right now, and that is, you know, here's the very beginning of the debate. Rather than introduce yourself, say hi, you know, show your opponent a little bit of respect to say that, hey, let's have a great conversation. He starts right off with a personal attack against Dave. This is a poisoning the well fallacy. He's trying to say that Dave has got a history somehow of operating a channel that gaslights and strawmans flat Earth. Dave, of course, isn't having any of this and gets a good chuckle out of it. But let's go ahead and continue.
Me to come off that way. Would it be okay to look for some common ground? Can I just ask a couple of quick questions, Dave? You good with that?
Whatever you want to do, man.
All right, so he's going to start off by saying, let's get some common ground. Now, this is just an attempt to set the frame of the debate and kind of give the context that the rest of the conversation will take. Now, Flat Earth Dave is trying to take over the conversation and demonstrate dominance here to put Professor Dave on the back foot.
Yeah, I'm just for, you know, to see if we have any common ground. Do you believe we went to the moon?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe that governments are here, especially the American government, for the people's well-being?
It's a pretty complicated question.
Okay, you don't have to answer it. That's fine. That's good. Do you believe that there's censorship going on YouTube?
Yes.
Some stuff is deprioritized in the algorithm. I don't know if that qualifies as censorship.
And is the news here to inform or to fill us with propaganda?
The news is largely propaganda. None of that has anything to do with the shape of the Earth, so I don't know what the hell you're even talking about. Literally none of that has to do with the shape of the Earth. So you're really off to a bad start already.
Just looking for some.
All right. So Dave's calling them out right here. These are all non sequiturs. They have absolutely nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. What they do have is they are an assessment of Dave's gullibility for conspiracy theories. So, for example, we didn't land on the moon. That's a conspiracy theory. The government is out to hurt you. That's also a conspiracy theory. They may not always have your very best interest at heart, but they're there to help regulate society so that you have a better place to live. They're not perfect, but hey, we do our best. Now then, the great enemy, the mainstream media. Now, if I were to venture a guess, I would say Dave Weiss is an avid watcher of Fox News. Now, the purpose of all of this is to show that Professor Dave is not a believer in conspiracy theories. Now, by saying that you don't believe in conspiracy theories, that opens you up to an argument that, well, you believe everything you hear. And that may come into play later on. But as you can see, Dave basically blew him right out of the water with his response that has absolutely nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, and you're not off to a good start. And I think that was the right way to handle this. So let's go ahead and continue.
Oh, if we both don't like the government, therefore the Earth is flat.
So the common ground is then we're going to try and keep talking points to 3 minutes each, responses to 2 or 3 minutes each, so we could get through this hour and everyone could get an equal share of the time involved here. And I think the first point that we've got up on the list is, what is gravity?
Now, this is the way that a debate should be moderated. Notice that the participants were starting to go off the rails a little bit, and what the moderator did was brought them all back into focus, outlined the rules of the debate, and it sounds like he's going to be enforcing these rules. Now, what remains to be seen is whether or not we're going to see another typical flat Earth technique, and that is over-talking your opponent. Let's see how the moderators handle that. But let's get on with the first question.
You want to go first, Dave, or you want me to go?
Oh, okay. This is how we're doing this? Okay, so according to general relativity, it's the curvature of space-time around massive objects. And so this is one of the easiest ways to know that the Earth is a sphere, because everything we see, everything, including the Earth, right, very large, massive objects are crushed into a sphere. That's why stars, planets, moons, everything pretty much is spheres. So you can now go ahead and do your like electric gravity bullshit, and then I'll explain to you why it's stupid.
Well, the question is, does anybody any scientists or anybody that's ever proven that any of the luminaries we see in the sky are even physical, let alone spheres?
Yeah, we can see them in telescopes.
You can see them. So you believe that if you see something, that'll tell you its shape. So when I look at this, are these spheres?
Oh.
Are these spheres? Dave, are these spheres?
Yeah, no, I've seen this little trick, and I know the third one from the left is flat.
It's showing you.
Here's the problem.
One from the left is flat. Dave, give me a second, then you can go.
No, because I've seen you do this, because I watched 2 of your videos, and you say the same crap in every single one.
Right.
I know what these are. I know what these shapes these are.
So how do you know what shape the moon is? How do you know that the moon is even a physical object? During a new moon, no one sees the moon in the sky.
I know your talking points. So the reason, this works because that's not moving. The things in the sky move. So if you take the third one from the left, which I know is flat, and you move it around, it's going to start to change shape, right? If the moon was a flat disk, I don't even know if that's one of your talking points or not. As it passed over you, it would change shape. It would distort.
I don't think the moon is a flat disk at all.
Okay, so it doesn't matter though. That's why what you're saying is stupid, because these objects do not move.
Now, obviously, I just showed you an actual spherical object, and from any angle, it appears to be circular. That's the way spheres work. Now, if you take a circular object, such as this charger, and you look at it from straight on, it appears circular. However, if you look at it from the side, it doesn't look circular anymore. Same thing with the other side. It changes shape as it moves, and that's the point that Professor Dave is making. The other thing, of course, that you can see shadows in the craters of the moon with any backyard telescope. You know, the idea that the moon somehow is any shape other than a sphere is just ludicrous, and Dave is rightly blowing that off. Now, rather than address this, Flat Earth Dave is going to do is try and change the subject a little bit. So let's go ahead and have a listen.
Now, the other problem is it's not just about shape, it's about other things like composition. Do you know what spectroscopy is?
Yeah, spectroscopy is you can measure gases, but it has to be in a container. Where's the container?
No. Stop. We are looking at light. We're looking at light and we are understanding about the materials, right? We're understanding the composition of things based on light. So when you start talking about gases, you show me immediately that you don't even know what spectroscopy is. So you do not know the ways in which we figure out things about celestial objects. You literally don't even know the definitions of the words that represent the techniques that we use.
Now, that was an absolutely devastating rebuttal by Professor Dave. And you notice a couple of things that Flat Earth Dave was trying to do. He is trying to introduce another concept, and that is that you can't have gases without a container. This is going back to why we must have a firmament. But again, that demonstrates a basic misunderstanding of the behavior of gases and the forces acting upon them. But I'm sure that Dave will get into that a little bit later. But right now, Dave is talking about spectroscopy, which is a study of light. And by looking at the various wavelengths in light, you can tell something about the elements that created that light. For example, if you take a loop of wire that's made out of copper or zinc and put it in a flame, it'll burn with a different color flame. That's one example of spectroscopy that you can do just basically in a high school chemistry department. We obviously have much more sophisticated instruments to do that just on we obviously have much more sophisticated ways of doing that, but that's what Professor Dave is talking about. Flat Earth Dave doesn't have the first clue what spectroscopy is, but he knows the gas has to have a container. And that's the point that he's going to try and hammer, and I don't think Dave's going to let him do it.
So why are you even talking about it?
So my question is, spectroscopy needs to be in a container. Otherwise, you don't know what you're
Spectroscopy needs to be in a container. The study of how light interacts with matter needs to be in a container. What does that mean?
Otherwise, when you're looking at the moon, you don't know what gases you're seeing in between us and the moon.
Gases? The moon is solid. The moon is a solid object.
How do you know that the moon is solid? How come you can't see it during a new moon?
Why can't you see it during a new moon?
Yeah.
Because do you understand how vision works?
Well,
right? In a new moon, what's happening in a new moon? The
light
from the sun is illuminating the side of away from us.
So
right? Light illuminates the things that it hits. So a new moon is when the side that the sun is illuminating is the other side away from us. What do you want it to do? The light to go around the moon and come back and hit the other side like magic?
Yeah. Dave's having a lot of trouble keeping a straight face right now. So you notice how Flat Earth Dave is just going from topic to topic to topic, trying to find a weakness. This is the spaghetti defense. You throw a pot of spaghetti against a wall and see what sticks. So far we've gone over the moon isn't a solid object. Spectroscopy, which is the study of light, involves containers of gases. And now he's gone on to why can't we see a new moon? As Dave begins to explain the basics of light to Flat Earth Dave, I think this is a good time for us to take a break. And we have talked about everything except gravity. You know, Dave gave a very good definition of gravity because he led off. Then Professor Dave demonstrated that he had done his research and knew what Flat Earth Dave's argument was going to be, the electric gravity nonsense. And he said, well, I'm ready for that, and I'm ready to tell you why you're wrong. Flat Earth Dave then immediately changed the subject to something else and has not gone back to gravity since. So, we'll continue this conversation in the next episode. This is Bob the Science Guy signing out from Northern Michigan. Thank you very much for stopping by and visiting with me. I'm glad to be back. My ribs are all healed up, and we're going to get going again, full steam. Take care.